Hi, my name is Lincoln Martin, and this is my personal leadership philosophy for organizational management and leadership. This class has been very formative in giving me a foundation in the content and the topic of organizational management and leadership, something that I hadn't really explored before this, so I'm very appreciative of that. It was good to give kind of an evolution over a timeline of how the philosophy has changed with time and how leadership, through research, our understanding of it has really evolved. It's no longer as simple as we first thought it to be. Rather, it involves it's a very dynamic process, and there's no one size fits all leadership. It's dynamic. It's not impossible, but there's no one size fits all. So for section 1, my process of determining a framework was really I first went through all of my notes and I consolidated them, which took a while because we've gone through so much. That was a multiple day process. And then I analyzed all those theories and those virtues and refamiliarized myself with them. Next, I categorized them according to their strengths, limitations, and where I thought each theory did not address leadership. So I thought of it kind of like these theories, I thought of them as tools in a tool belt. You need different tools for different problems. So your hammer is not always going to fix your solution, your problem. Next, I simplified them into 3 behaviors that I tried to simplify them as much as I could, and I ended up with 3 leadership actions, which were reactive, maintaining, and proactive, which is kind of like a past, present, and future, if you want to think of it that way. Humility was another behavior that you might notice doesn't really align with that. Well, it's because I presented humility really as a foundational virtue of leadership that all the other behaviors really build on. If you don't have humility in leadership, you're off to the wrong start. So humility really is foundational. If you don't have it, you're missing out on all the other virtues that really build off of it. It has an interpersonal and an interpersonal dimension, which basically self-awareness would be the internal aspect of humility, how you are honest and transparent with yourself and recognizing your need for growth. Servant leadership would be the interactions you have with others, the interpersonal. And I talked through those. Next, on to reactive, maintaining, and proactive. Reactive, I really thought of this leadership action as you need wise decision making as a leader. You need to discern where your organization is at currently as far as followers are concerned and as far as challenges are concerned. Next, to maintain a culture, you have to realize that organizations aren't these machines in which workers are just replaceable cogs that you can just plug in and out. Organizations are social systems, really. They have a culture, and so you need to align your organization's values with that culture, which is value congruence. You also need to identify what is worth maintaining, what is an effective team. Next, you need to keep those followers motivated. Those all play into maintenance. Next, proactive. This is a part of leadership that it's hard to get there because you have to be disciplined. You can't always be putting out fires as a leader if you hope to have the freedom to think proactively. Proactive leaders, they don't just see problems, they see opportunities. And to do that, you have to have a mindset shift that involves innovation and creativity. As far as my values and beliefs are concerned, I identified 3 values that stick out to my leadership my leadership philosophy. They are faith, family, and future. So faith is important to my leadership because my understanding of God as the ultimate leader absolutely affects the way I hope to lead other people, especially as God extends me love and forgiveness. That grace that I receive from Him, I want to extend that to others. And Jesus, as a servant leader who took on humility in the form of a servant, that means that I, as a Christian, need to have compassion and love on those that I'm serving and put their needs above my own ambition. As a leader, I'm not, as a leader of faith, I'm not just controlling workers. As a leader, I influence my followers. Next, family value affects my leadership. This is two parts. Let's talk about my dad. He's the hardest worker I know. And growing up, he showed me what dedicated hard work ethic looks like, but that never impeded on his ability to spend quality time with our family. He was at family dinners. He was at my sports events. He didn't vent about how hard work was. He was able to distinguish the two. And looking back on it now, I can really appreciate how much of a priority that must have been for him, that he was able to separate those two. And that left an impression on me. So now I just got married as a husband. Now that responsibility is mine to make sure that I'm balancing work and family and making sure that they're distinct. I need to maintain that responsibility on my own. Finally, the third value is future. I'm a very future-oriented person, and the future excites me because I think of all the possibilities of how I could have real positive influence in this future. That's not to say I want a memorial that enshrines my name. I really just want to be serving a bigger purpose that, it outlives my own ambition. It's part of a bigger dream, much bigger than my own ambition. This one quote that Walt Disney has that kind of speaks to this is one that he says, "Disneyland will never be completed. It will continue to grow as long as there is imagination left in the world." Now, you may be indifferent about Disneyland, but the quote speaks to something much larger than that. It's the idea that building something that transcends time is a powerful idea for humans. And that's the way I view the future. I want to build something that transcends time. And as a leader, I want that optimism for the future to be contagious and cause the people that I'm around to dream bigger themselves. My strengths that I identified were humility, hard work, and innovation and creativity. As a leader, I see myself as a humble leader because of my love to serve others. I know that this isn't true for a lot of people, and I'm very thankful that I genuinely enjoy that aspect of humility, which is servant leadership. I find joy in it. I find fulfillment in the experiences that I've had serving in my church and serving at Vacation Bible School, in some cases local homeless shelters. That really, I enjoy that work even without public acknowledgement. I love to be able to help in that way, which is absolutely a foundational aspect of servant leadership. As far as the intrapersonal dimension of humility, I'm pretty honest with myself, and so I believe that I do have self-awareness, and I'd rather be honest with myself so that I can grow than remain stagnant because I wasn't willing to be truthful with myself. Next strength would be hard work. This has been partially a learned skill and partially a natural gift. So the nitty-gritty hard work was definitely a learned skill. I developed that. It's a process of experiencing hard work, whether it was in hot summers out in the pasture cutting thistle, or whether it was cleaning restrooms at my church throughout my childhood, or whether it was serving on a missions trip to build a church or build a house. Those things definitely revealed that hard work is not something that a lot of people just naturally have. We tend to be lazy, but the persistence of exposing yourself to hard work taught me that. The natural side of hard work that I exhibit would be my high standards of quality for myself. And proof of this would be my Clifton Strength Finder. I found that achiever is one of my skills, and they describe this as achiever continuously toils long after others have stopped working. And this has absolutely been true in my own experience. because I hold myself to a higher standard of excellence or quality than a lot of people. Now, that can have some detriment, but sometimes I obsess over my work, but it does mean that I always want to present my best work in everything that I do, whether it's a big project or whether it's a daily chore. One example of this would be whenever I would organize pantries. I would have a chore at the house. An example would be organizing the pantry. What would usually take somebody 1 to 2 hours took me way too long. It took me over a day because I decided if I was going to organize the pantry, I was going to organize it in such a way that it would stay organized for a long time, and I made out a system for it, which seems like overkill, but it's the kind of hard work that I think is naturally a gift of mine. Next would be innovation and creativity. I loved discovery centers as a kid growing up because they focused on problem solving, and when I would go to them, I'd just be in awe of thinking about how I could use my imagination and creativity to solve problems. And this is also evidenced in my Clifton Strength Finder with the strategy strength. I've also been told this by other people. I hope to someday be in a position that I would lead over a team of creatives, so I find this strength to be very relevant for my own leadership career. Two areas of development would be delegation and conflict resolution. Delegation is hard for me because I struggle to trust, and it really would hold back the organization that I would be leading because I understand that just because I'm stubborn in a decision doesn't mean that I'm making the best decision. And often if you delegate work, those individuals will actually surpass your own skill in that, and you're only holding yourself back by refusing to delegate. Finally, conflict resolution. I have a tendency to shirk away from conflict. Anytime a disagreement comes up, it makes me uncomfortable, and I realize that this is immature, and I'm missing opportunities for growth whenever I try to just keep the peace. And so to resolve this, my plan is to intentionally seek out conflict, conversations that bring it about, and I think this is one of those areas where I just need to practice it, and I need to practice resolving conflict, and that'll go a long ways. Thank you.